Manchester United will face off against Barcelona in the first leg of the Europa League Round of 32 game, which is the extra playoff game that United were forced to play for finishing second in the group stages. Now, this is obviously a clash of the heavyweights, as Manchester United and Barcelona are two of the biggest clubs in the world, but I think fans of both clubs would agree that neither are as good as they used to be. In this video, we're going to analyze the preferred tactics and formations of both managers and discuss how Erik Ten Hag can beat Xavi's Barcelona, who are definitely favorites for this game. If you like what you see in this video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel to never miss out on content just like this. Barcelona has been doing really well under Xavi this season, as they sit top of La Liga 11 points ahead of Real Madrid at the moment. And instead of analyzing their whole season, we're going to kick things off by discussing Barcelona's form in the last 10 games. And close your eyes, Man United fans, because Barcelona have won 10 out of their last 10 games in all competitions, scoring 20 goals and conceding just 4. They are outperforming their XG stats by a mile, as they've scored about 6 more goals than they were expected to. Now, this is a sign that they've been clinical in front of goal, something that United has to watch out for. Across the same 10 games, their opponents seem to be underperforming their XG stats, as Barcelona has conceded just about 6 goals less than they were expected to. Now, this is generally a sign of good defensive pressure on opposing attackers while they're about to shoot, or just great goalkeeping performance. Either way, this is a really good sign for Barcelona. Now, looking at possession stats reveals the same level of dominance that you would expect from a Barcelona side, as they have about 62% of the ball on average across these last 10 games. So coming into this game, not only are Barcelona playing really well, they've also just won their first piece of silverware this season by beating Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup final. So without a doubt, this will be a tough test for Erik Ten Hag's side. So let's take a quick look at Xavi's tactics and formations so we know exactly what Man United will be up against on Thursday. Now, Xavi has used the 4-3-3 formation throughout the season, so it's likely that he'll stick to that formation that you see on the screen here. In-game, however, is where things get a little more interesting. Xavi likes to play a 3-2-2-3 formation in possession, where Lewandowski occupies the two opposing center backs, Alex Balde, the left back, plays high and wide on the left wing, Rafinha plays high and wide on the right side, and behind that front three are Xavi and Pedri, who occupy the inside spaces and use their tactical and positional flexibility to dominate the attacking areas. You'll often see Xavi and Pedri play multiple positions in midfield within the same game, as you'll see them dropping deep to pick up the ball off the center backs, then drive forward as box-to-box midfielders to get into attacking areas by using their technical skills like close control, dribbling, and passing to help them do these things. But their positional sense and reading of the game is what really sets them apart. And it's this positional sense that also allows them to play as wingers or second strikers at times. Just behind this front five, Xavi has two sitting midfielders whose job it is to protect the back three and dictate the play from midfield. Usually this is Busquets in this area and De Jong in this area, but since Busquets is injured for this game, it's most likely going to be De Jong in the Busquets role and Kessié in the De Jong role. And even among these two, there's some tactical and positional flexibility, as the player in the Busquets role tends to sit while the other player is allowed more room to get forward. In the back three, Xavi usually likes to have one ball-playing center back at least, and this is where Andreas Christensen shines. Christensen is given the license to get forward, so you'll often see him occupying the inside spaces here where Xavi usually operates, and that allows Xavi room to play as the second striker next to Lewandowski, and this creates a 2-2-2-4 formation for Barcelona. And this is really beneficial in breaking down the deep blocks and creating chances in these scenarios. So depending on how deep the opposition defends, Xavi's system is a 3-2-2-3 or a 2-2-2-4, with the key tenet of his playstyle being positional flexibility, or el juego de posición, which is borrowed directly from Pep Guardiola's football philosophy. Now that we have a general understanding of Xavi's preferred tactics, formations, and the potential Barcelona starting 11 for this game, let's take a look at Manchester United. Now, United aren't doing nearly as well as Barcelona this season, but they've been doing absolute bits under Erik Ten Hag. And as a United fan, I can safely say that we're way ahead of where we expected to be under the Dutch manager. In the last 10 games in all competitions, United have won 7, drawn 2, and lost just 1, scoring 22 goals and conceding just 9. Compared to Barcelona, United are slightly outperforming their XG with 3 more goals than expected, and they're conceding just 2 fewer goals than expected at the moment. What surprised me the most, though, was that United has similar possession stats in the last 10 games as Barcelona with 61% average possession. And off the top of my head, I would have expected this number to be closer to 50 or 55%, given that we've played Arsenal and Manchester City in the last 10 games. So while United are not quite at the same level as Barcelona, we're coming into this game in unexpectedly good form. Now, for the Barcelona fans that are watching, I'll quickly go over Ten Hag's tactics and formations as well, because regular viewers of the channel have probably seen this several times already. Ten Hag likes to start in the 4-2-3-1 that you see here, but he plays in a 3-3-1-3 in possession that looks like this. In this shape, Weghorst occupies the 2 opposing center backs and both wingers provide the width, with Bruno in the free role in behind the front 3 to provide support on either wing as needed. The midfield 3 usually consists of Casemiro and 2 fullbacks, but because United is missing several players through injury or suspension, Fred and Wan-Bissaka will likely play next to Casemiro in this game, which leaves the back 3 of Luke Shaw, Varane, and Malacia. Just like Xavi, Ten Hag also likes players that can play in multiple positions during the game, and the most important roles in his lineup are those of the middle 5 that you see here. Bruno often interchanges with Sancho or Rashford on the wings, which allows them to play as inverted wingers. In game, you'll often see Bruno be the widest man on the right or the left wing, which allows Sancho or Rashford to make a run into the box, occupying one of the center backs, which frees up more room for Weghorst to operate in. Then we have Wan-Bissaka and Fred, who are playing in midfield next to Casemiro, operating as box-to-box midfielders in the inside spaces here, who provide attacking and defensive support as needed. Then we have the central center back, which is usually Martinez in Ten Hag's preferred starting 11, but unfortunately he's suspended for this game, so it's going to be Shaw. Now, one of Shaw's key strengths are his passing abilities. He has high progressive passing numbers throughout every season that he plays mostly. What Shaw will be required to do is dictate the play by playing line-breaking passes to the front 4. So try to get through Barcelona's crowded midfield as much as possible. And that leaves us with Casemiro, who is Ten Hag's Swiss Army knife, band-aid, or duct tape, or whatever you want to call it. He can get into the box and provide a goal threat or find a teammate with a through ball when needed. And on the defensive end, he can definitely sense the danger to stop counterattacks. Now that we understand both managers' tactics, let's take a look at how Barcelona will try to dominate this game and what Erik Ten Hag can do to stop. As we've discussed already, Xavi likes positional flexibility in possession, so you can expect to see the front 8 players that you see here consistently swapping positions to create a free man in between United's lines that you see here. Now, this is a nightmare to defend against because it takes a lot of defensive awareness and concentration to consistently track your man and ensure that you don't let a runner that gets free in behind you. And United fans will already know that Wan-Bissaka and Fred in particular are terrible at tracking runners, so we can expect a lot of frustration to come out of these 2 areas. And of course, Barcelona's midfield has the potential to run circles around United because Casemiro, Bruno, and Fred are just not as good a midfield as Xavi, Pedri, De Jong, and Kessie. So you can expect United to have around 30 or 40% of the possession, if not less. And out of possession, Barcelona are pretty good as well because their in-possession formation is set up to have 7 to 8 players in advanced areas, and they're great at using 3 to 4 players in certain areas of the pitch based on where the ball is to win the ball back out of possession. So how exactly will Ten Hag defend against Xavi's positional play and attempt to win this game? I think Ten Hag will surprise everyone and go with a mini high press on Barcelona, at least in the first 15 to 20 minutes, maybe even of both halves. Ten Hag will be well aware that you can't just let Barcelona play their game at home. It's crucial to cut off the supply lines to Barca's midfield, in particular from Andreas Christensen or Frankie de Jong. So I think what Ten Hag will do is ask Sancho and Weghorst to press Christensen so that he has difficulty playing the ball out from the back. And I think he'll also ask Bruno and Fred to press de Jong so that he has difficulty receiving the ball and playing out the passes as he sees fit. Now this might leave Kessié and one of Xavi or Pedri free, but Ten Hag knows that whether you leave them free or not, Xavi and Pedri have the ability to find space. At least this way, they'll be forced to drop deep and help out Christensen and Pedri to help out De Jong, so that Barcelona has more gaps in between their midfield and attack, and they have to start attacks from deeper in their own half. Barcelona tends to flow most of their attacks from the left-hand side, so we can expect to see United winning the ball back in our right back area, and Ten Hag's side will look to counterattack really quickly by progressing the ball and switching the play from the right-hand side to the left flank, where Rashford will be waiting to run in behind. So Barcelona, being really confident at home and playing a high line, can work to United's advantage, as there will be more space in behind for our runners. In closing thoughts, Xavi's Barcelona will come into this game trying to keep possession by creating and exploiting space through their positional play. They'll also be happy to press United man for man if needed to win the ball back high up the pitch. Erik Ten Hag, on the other hand, will be happy to have less of the ball and defend for most of the game, as we've seen already in games against Arsenal and Man City this season, and try to get some goals on the counterattack. Even though he won't admit it because publicly he says he wants to win every game, I think deep down Ten Hag will be happy with a 0-0 or 1-1 draw away from home so he can win the tie at Old Trafford. Now I'm very, very excited about this game and I hope United can get the win, but I have to say Barcelona are definitely favorites coming into it. That being said, as if Ten Hag hasn't shown us enough progress already, a win at the Camp Nou will be symbolic for how far we have come under our Dutch manager. Get in the comments below with your score predictions, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.